All right, so it is being recorded as we speak. So again, thank you all for coming. On behalf of Mr. Hazler and I, we thank you all for coming. We do have a very short presentation, just as I explained, and we're going to get right into the Q&A because our expectation is to hear from you and to learn more about what your hopes and expectations are for the incoming school year. So we want to welcome you all, our staff, our community members. We are going to talk a little bit about our new vice principal roles, as well as the new student orientation. We're going to talk a little bit about literacy. That is a huge push for us this year, and that is a huge initiative that we have for the incoming school year, and something that we're really excited about. We're also going to talk a little bit about our enrichment opportunities after school and a little bit of our spirit days. So with that, so we're very excited to introduce two new vice principals. These are roles we started talking about in this spring, and we're really excited to add the additional support for our students and our teachers in both schools. So Alexandra Castillo is a passionate educator. She's an educational leader. She has deep expertise in multilingual learner development, instructional coaching, and school leadership. She did quite a bit of work out in Tennessee before coming to New Jersey. She's fluent in Spanish and experienced across both charter and public settings. She has led professional development and support district compliance, and she's even worked with the NJDOE. She's really here to empower and support our teachers, elevate student success, and help all learners thrive in our school from K to 8. She's going to be working mostly in Duffy with our elementary school teachers and students. And then we have Nicole Dixon. She's a purpose-driven leader. She has over a decade of experience as a history teacher. She's been a program coordinator and instructional leadership leader. She brings a deep commitment to student engagement, equity, and innovation. She's also a dynamic presenter. She's a curriculum writer and an AI integration leader who has developed student-centered programs like Freshman Seminar and Option 2. She's a passionate about making learning meaningful, inclusive, and community-centered. And a little tidbit of Nicole, which we found out after the fact. We really didn't know this during the interview process. Her husband actually went through Duffy and McKinnon and is a graduate of Wharton Borough Public Schools, and he's now a VP at Morris Hills. So a success story tied to Wharton's rich history and tradition of learning. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Hazler, who's going to talk a little bit about orientation for new students. Mr. Hazler, you're muted. Were you able to unmute? If not, I'll send somebody over. Okay. Give me 1 second. I'll send somebody over. So I'll talk a little bit about our new student orientation. So what happens is we have quite a few students that enter into Wharton on a yearly basis. They enter in the beginning of the year and then in various points throughout the year. And what we're trying to do is have an orientation so that students can be assessed. We want to know where they are, with their math skills, with their literacy development, and if they're coming in from a different country, we want to know what their ESL level, where their ESL levels are. And the reason we want to do that is we want to make sure that as soon as a student takes a seat in one of the classrooms, that they are fully prepared to access learning. But also, in fairness to our teachers, we want to make sure that we can give our teachers as much rich information as possible about those students. So in fairness to them, they know how to properly support a student. At times, it can take two or even 3 months because a teacher is managing a classroom with up to 20 students to get to know the student on a very personal level and understand how they learn best and any enrichment they need to provide or any supports they need to provide. So we are having a testing day the last week of August, in which we're going to be testing all students that are entering from kindergarten all the way up to 8th grade. In addition to that, so when they take we'll also give an orientation and get to see the building, etc. So when they take a seat in the classroom, the teacher will know exactly what their literacy levels are, what their math scores are based on our internal assessment. But for us, our school counselors are going to be there. We also get a lot of qualitative data as well. So we know, is this a student that's adverse to school and just isn't really looking to take part in the testing? That's valuable information that we need to know. Is it a student that asks a lot of questions because he wants to make sure he doesn't make a mistake? That's also valuable information, anecdotal information that our school counselors can pass on to the teachers. So that's a little bit something new that we're adding on this year. And then that if a student transfers in the middle of like October, November, the first day that they spend in Wharton Borough Public Schools will be spent, gathering this data, taking these assessments before they actually take a seat in the classroom. And I'm going to keep moving just while Mr. Hazler gets some assistance with the presentation. The other thing that we're doing is we really took a holistic view at the hierarchy of needs of a school system. So we always talk about hierarchy of needs for our students, but we also took an in-depth analysis, what does a district really need to create a rich learning environment? And the first thing we did is we realized student needs to have a sense of belonging and a sense of pride. So we've surveyed our teachers about enrichment opportunities they want to run after school, during the school, as well as spirit days that they want to incorporate into what we do here. And I have to tell you, the feedback we got from our teachers was absolutely amazing. And we have some great ideas, which we're going to get a little bit more in depth about. The other thing is the next step is just developing a positive culture. We want to make sure that students are making good choices. So we want to develop a culture of respect and build on a lot of the work that Mr. Hazler has been doing over the years. He's actually coming in. He's going to join me here. And then we want to work on, agentic learning. So we want to make sure that this school isn't a place that's transactional, where students come in, they do their learning, and then they leave for the day and the learning is done. We want to make sure that students, take curiosity and inquiry as a mindset. They spend some time here after school doing enrichment activities and spirit-related activities, and then they leave with curiosity, so the learn keeps on happening. And of course, that requires community engagement. That means that we need to build relationships with the families as well as the local community in order to make this successful. And then the last part is the collaboration in working with the board. The board, of course, sets the vision and the mission in alignment with the school administration. And we want to make sure that everything is working together to properly support our students as well as our teachers. Mr. Hazler, come on in. So when it comes to district-wide literacy initiatives, when it comes to literacy initiatives, I have been taking a deep dive into what our data looks like. And what we find is there are gaps in understanding, reading comprehension, and language development. So we can't just become very monotone and just basically push our students to do regurgitative exercises for literacy. So we want to incorporate literacy writing across the curriculum. Our teachers are going to do some professional development before the start of the school year. But then we also want to make sure we do fun things like book swaps. Students read books and then they're done reading them. Instead of letting them linger at home, we can find them a new home within the district with another family. So we're going to have book swaps. We're going to have family reading nights. And as I mentioned, our first PD with teachers is creating rich writing and reading environments within the classroom, making sure that we are writing across the curriculum and that our expectations for writing aren't just happening in ELA. We want to make sure that that same high quality writing is happening in mathematics, in science, social studies, and even in art, learning how to appreciate art and how to use that very rich creative language about what art looks like. So we're going to promote writing rigor and writing endurance across all classrooms. Go ahead.
There's numerous after-school enrichment opportunities that we're exploring, opportunities for our students. You can see there in the slide presentation, we're exploring possibly getting these going. Photography club, podcasting, book clubs, kindness club, National Junior Arts Honor Society, National Junior Honor Society. These are all things that we're looking at exploring and possibly getting started this school year. More information will follow if we do get those going. We have surveyed the staff, and the staff came up with some great ideas as well about possibilities of particular clubs or activities for after school. So we have gathered a lot of information from them, as well as last year, some outgoing students and some current students. We got information from them about some ideas, so we are exploring those options as well. Kind of, you could talk about partnering with community.
Yeah, so Wharton has a really rich history here. And so we want to make sure we partner with historical organizations, with our library, and even local business owners so students can be introduced to different passion projects or even passion careers that they can get behind. We know, and it's not realistic, that everyone's going to go to college. And there are so many other opportunities that our students don't get exposure to. And so we do want to partner with local organizations to make sure they start getting some exposure to other careers, as well as, following passion projects that they may want to follow here in school. So spirit days and school culture. And again, this is all coming from our teachers who did I sent them a quick survey just to and they're off, right? They really don't need to be reading their emails, but they're completely committed, to the school and to the district. As a matter of fact, Oliver Duffy is here today doing a mathematics professional development because we are rolling out a new mathematics curriculum. And they're all here working together, collaborating, and really diving into what it means to effectively deliver this mathematics curriculum starting in September. But some of the ideas they came up with is Kindness Week, Career Day, definitely talked about pep rallies and Fridays, where we theme out our Fridays and welcome kids in different ways, or Wharton Wednesdays, which those are themed out, and really kind of develop a strong connection between the students and the school.
Our school counselors, as well as our gifted and talented advisors, have been working with students on creating other ideas and student-led initiatives here within the school to improve upon our school culture and build upon our school culture and climate. They've been coming up with some fantastic ideas. Some of the things that you saw last year, for example, Duffy School did the chalk drawings outside. I'm sure most of you visitors have seen that. That's just an example of the things that ideas that the students are coming up with. Belonging, school pride, fun is emphasized here, and that's going to be a stronger push this year and years to come.
The other day, additional things that we're doing, and Mr. Hazer will speak a little bit more about this, is the work we're doing with real time. We are trying to move as much as possible onto real time and to digitize as much as possible for simplicity, so parents don't always have to come to the district and bring materials to re-register their students, to fill out lunch applications. We're trying to systematize things as much as possible to make it as easy as possible. Our IT department had actually reached out about doing some training for parents on how to access real time and how to access the lunch forms and even Google Classroom, so they can have a much stronger connection with what's happening in the classroom. And I'll let Mr. Hazer jump in for some more.
Now, if you haven't noticed, I did start down in my office and I made it down this way. So you could have timed me in the 100-yard dash. I think I did pretty well. But up there in my office, I had my notes, but I will like to speak to the tech department. It says IT will be available for parents with the portal. So that you will sign on this school year when you're looking to view your child's schedule. There may be some small differences. Like, for example, you may see that you have to update your parent contact information if you are a parent of one of our students here. So please anticipate that, as well as just checking off some of the documents, such as encouraging your child to wear a helmet, or they should be wearing a helmet to school if they're riding a bike or a scooter. Checking off if it's okay for your child to have their picture taken at school, and certain things like that. So please familiarize yourself with that, and also be ready when the portal opens.
We launched on our website, and with that, we launched a new app. You can already download it. If you put in Wharton Borough Schools, you can already download the app. Full disclosure, we're still in beta testing. Everything isn't on there. But with that with the new application, our teachers will be able to communicate with parents, and the application will automatically translate whatever the message is into the receiving language. So, for example, if our teacher is here communicating English and the person at home is expecting something in French or Spanish, it'll automatically translate that. So it'll create an easier connection between the home and the school. Addition to that, on a weekly basis, we're trying to put as much information on this Google Calendar for so that parents know exactly what's coming up the following week, and you'll get an email then on that over the weekend about the upcoming events for the following week. But we are trying to front load as much information as possible and create a year at a glance. I already met with the two head secretaries in both McKinnon and Duffy to figure out what are the historical events that happen regularly. I met with the head of the PTA to also get information. And then we sort of added some additional events here and there that we thought would really continue to build on that Wharton pride and Wharton spirit. So that's all we have. Just a really quick snapshot of some of the things we'll be working on. There'll be additional letters coming with more specific information. This is really an opportunity for you to ask us questions and give us feedback. So you can unmute yourselves. You can also add questions into the chat box, which we can answer for you. But this is really your time. We want to hear from you, how to best support you as a family unit and your child when they, child or children, when they get here in September.
Hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Caitlin, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and just speak.
Hi there. Quick question. When are the supply lists
Give me 1 second. I'm not hearing you.
Oh.
Go ahead and try again.
Can you hear me now?
I'm not hearing you. Do you want to put it in the chat?
Yeah.
Okay. So Caitlin asked when the supply list will be available. We hope to have that out in the next 2 weeks. We've also already have the back to school dates that we're going to be sending in that email as well, and opening up the parent portal so parents can see the classrooms that they've been assigned with. So thank you very much for that question. Christina Burnett, you are next.
Hi, can you hear me?
Wait, I can't hear you either. Give me 1 second. Let me get Evan to see why I'm not hearing the participants. Give me a second. Put it in the chat now while I get my tech person to open up and find out why we can't hear the participants. Hey, Evan. It looks clear, so.
Does anyone know how to type in the chat?
Christina, we can hear you now. You can go ahead and speak.
Okay. Hi, good afternoon.
Resolve it.
I had just two quick questions. My
Yes.
first question is, what will you guys do to support those more advanced students? I know there's a lot of support for students who need help. So
Yeah.
what is your focus for those who, you know, are a little bit more advanced and can tend to be bored during regular school sessions?
That's a great question. I'll let Mr. Hazler jump in first. Really excited about your question, then I'll jump in after him.
Well, throughout the district, we're making a push to have a more inclusive setting, but that also means the growth of all of our students. So we are working more towards small group instruction within the particular classrooms, and the groups will be based depending upon the setting, the teacher, what's happening in that particular class at the time. But students may be grouped by ability level, personalities, different things, but sometimes they will be grouped by ability level within the particular classrooms. So we could take the students wherever level they're on and advance them just a step further, so that we're supporting the higher achieving students and all students in that manner. So again, to get them to go from here to here, we're trying to do that. And that's just based upon statistics alone, that shows tremendous growth, and it is a positive impact.
Mr. Hazler and I also just attended a training right exactly on this subject. We are in the process. We got the unofficial NJSLA scores, and we have quite a few students that are, in the advanced area, especially in mathematics. So we are going to look to provide a math on grade level. So if we have a student that last year in 3rd grade got a perfect score on math, we're going to give him the 4th grade assessment. If he's mastered most of that content already, then we're going to make he or she have mastered that content, we're going to make sure that we put him into the higher level as well. So so we are looking at where those enrichment opportunities are. Our teachers, like you said, are trained in UDL, and that's differentiating up as well as down. So it's not just supporting students that are at risk, it's also making sure that the students that are above grade level also get those enriching experiences.
Great, that's very helpful. And then the other quick question was, what do you guys do to just help them not sit all day and to just be a little bit more mobile when possible?
One of the things we did is, like, for example, this year, instead of having art in the classroom, our elementary school now has an art room dedicated just for our elementary school students. We converted a classroom that we didn't need for kindergarten, and that's going to be the art room for our Duffy students. So that's one more opportunity for them to get up and out of their seats. And we are also talking about, like, brain breaks and incorporating icebreaker activities more routinely.
When going back to your question about supporting our advanced students, this particular year, in comparison to past years, speaking specific to the middle school, we did, as we always do, we look at the data and various sources of data. And within our particular grade levels, we had our advanced sections were actually ballooning. So we have multiple classes where advanced students are going, they could have been advanced, but our advanced classes would be too large. So we must have one advanced and another just a little bit lower as far as that goes. So we have, say, for example, 7th grade has 4 sections of any core subject. Fifth, there's 5 sections in 8th grade, and then 4 sections in 6th grade. So you may have 2 sections where they could have been in the advanced section. So please know that.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Duda, you have a question.
Hi, yes. So I have already posted the question on the chat, but again, I can say it, like, I have a kindergartner, like, who will be starting with kindergarten this September, but she has already attended the preschool from the Wattenboro in one of the schools, like the Learning Tree Academy in the Sukasuna. So will there be any test for her in the kindergarten, or how does it happen? We
Yes.
have not received any communication.
So you should have already gotten a communication, because some of our kindergarten testing already happened. Ms. Canfield happened to be here, and she's been doing most of it. If you were missed, every student is tested before they enter kindergarten, because we do have students that come from very strong pre-Ks, and then some that come from being at home, and they're on different levels. It doesn't mean that one is higher than the other. And so we do test all our incoming kindergartners as well. So I will make a note of your name, and I will make sure that if you haven't gotten a call, because you should have, that you get a call so that we can set up your child for testing.
Oh, I think something happened during the time of April or May. Is that the same test that we are referring to? April or May. She went for an orientation.
Orientation is different. There's some testing as well. I made a note of your name, and we're going to reach out to you and make sure we set up for testing as well.
Okay. Another question I have is that, like, as you mentioned, the NGSLS scores are out. So as parents, shall we get access to the testing results? I have one in the 3rd grader going up to 4th grader this September as well. So checking on the NGSLS results.
Yes, the results I have right now, Mr. Hazler, are unofficial. Those are not public results yet. Those results are exclusively for us to, kind of look through and make sure there are no errors. Once the official reports are done, they do mail them to the school, and we do mail them home as well.
Okay, thanks for that.
Any other questions?
I've been some questions in the chat.
Okay, I'm going to go through some of the questions in the chat.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Jessica.
I guess I'm just want to be clear on the question the woman before me asked. My son did screening in May to go into kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
That in it, like, is there now a different test he has to take, or was okay?
Same one. What happens is some of the students didn't get screened in the spring, and so we're screening them in the summer.
Perfect. Thank you.
And someone asked, are there changes in regard to inclusive classrooms? There are no changes. Inclusion is really determined by IEP. What we do have is, as a district, we are part of a grant NJIP, and we are trying to move into more inclusive learning environments, which means moving students out of resource room, which is considered more restrictive, into more inclusive environments. And the reason we do that is because there's a value in having students be with peers that are of the same age because of their social development. And the research does show that the more you get away from the general education and learning environment, the more restrictive the environment is considered for the student. So Lindsay, thanks for asking that question. But that is, so we really haven't changed anything. We're trying to be more inclusive wherever possible. Like I said, that is part of the NJIP grant that we're a part of. Our goal is to become as fully inclusive as we possibly can, just because we think that's how students learn best, and that's how they develop best socially as well. Someone asked about, since the town halls have been successful, can we move our Board of Education meetings to virtual as well? That is not a question for me to answer. That's a question more for, that's a board decision. I do have to say, I came from a district in which we were, we had low participation in our online meetings. I mean, in our in-person meetings, we did go to virtual. It didn't really change anything. In the beginning, there was excitement about the online meetings. So I think for the first 3 or 4, we probably had like 10 people that showed up, which was a lot for us. And then it went right back to no one was showing up online as well. So, but that's not a school level decision. That's a board level decision. And that's a discussion I can let them know came up in this town hall, but that is really for them to make that decision, how they're engaging with the stakeholders. Are any homework free next year? I believe the district as a whole has a no homework policy. What we talked a little bit about is creating enrichment opportunities where learning gets extended into the home. So it's not any of that rote memorization, doing additional computation, we want to make sure we're not sending worksheet packages home. But we do think there is a value in having students leave curiously and possibly want to engage in learning some more once they leave the school building. Another question. We asked if the interim principal will be back at Duffy at this, in Ms. Blaylock's absence. At this point, we don't have any other. We are planning on Ms. Alpo being back. We have not made any other decisions that would contradict that. We are looking for a more long-term solution. Ms. Alpo, for example, has she has some conflict, so she is going to be won't be able to be here 5 days a week. So we are looking for something that's more permanent, in support of Ms. Blaylock, as well as working with Ms. Blaylock to see what a long-term plan is. That's really all I can kind of say on this, unfortunately. But just know that having somebody permanent who has some of those qualities that we've come to, we've become endeared to with Ms. Alpo is certainly, a goal of all of us. We do know that having someone there at the helm is really important to support our teachers as well as our students. So we are all of the same mindset. Someone said, what is the district no homework policy? That precedes me. It's a BC, as I like to say. That's a before Connie. So I'm going to let and there is a value in not having overburdening children with homework, but I'll let him speak to it a little bit more. He probably knows more about the historical context.
No, so in regards to no homework, it's really not that there's no homework. It's any classwork that is not finished and becomes homework for the students. But a lot of the students here have a lot going on outside of the home. We have students that are older students that are taking care of their younger siblings. There's students involved in sports. There's students involved in many things. And it was a discussion in regards to trying to limit the amount of responsibilities that they have when they leave here, adding on to as they're caring for possibly younger siblings at home, then having them do homework, and it might fall back on them that they might not be able to do that because they are caring for their young siblings at home. There have been numerous discussions in regards to that. So typically it is any classwork that is not finished within the school setting then becomes homework for the child.
Yeah, and we don't want to be a district that just hands out packages that need to be complete, or, we definitely don't want to create a situation where students don't learn in the classroom and then we create strain on the family unit because the parent has to teach something at home. That's definitely not something we want to do. So if we're going to do anything, we want it to be purposeful, intentional, and meaningful. So Mr. Martinez asked, is there a minutes timeline for when the meeting minutes get posted on the website? Yes. So minutes, when they're posted on the timeline, that's dictated by statute. So what that means is the meeting happens, the minutes are gathered, and then so for if, let's say there was a meeting in June, the meeting happens, the minutes are recorded, and then they have to be approved at the following meeting, which is in July. And so only after the July meeting will the minutes get posted. So the minutes are usually approximately 30 days behind when the prior meeting was. Someone asked if the no homework policy was applicable to elementary school. It is a district-wide policy. Will there be an option to submit student absence from the parent portal rather than calling into Duffy? We are looking at setting, creating an to enter the reason why their students are out on the parent portal. We are systematizing a lot more of the attendance on the parent portal for sure. Just to be clear, our attendance here is something we have been working on. The research shows that the more students are out, the more at risk they are to not completing high school and not being successful in academia beyond high school. So we are looking to, improve our attendance overall, but also making it simple for parents to communicate with the school. The app name is Wharton Borough. If you just will look up Wharton Borough Schools, Wharton Borough Public Schools, the app will show up. And then Wilson, I see that you have, being admitted. Allison, Miss Johnston, you have a question.
Hi, I don't know if you can hear me. I tried to type in the chat, but I guess you guys can't see it. My daughter is coming through as a choice student, so she's never been in Wharton Borough before. Where do I get the parent portal app? Is that like on the new app that you mentioned, or is that through the website?
So the parent portal is different. The parent portal, you'll be able to access it through the app, but parent portal is our main student information system. So in your prior district, you either had Real-Time, Genesis, or Power School. We use Real-Time. That's our equivalent of, Genesis and Power School. And that's what we call the portal. That's where you access grades. That's where you can update any new registration forms, etc.
Okay, is there like a specific login that I need to use for that? I haven't really gotten anything. And I know it's, school hasn't started yet, but I'm just not sure how to access it.
If you want to send me an email directly, I will make sure to send you instructions on how to access it and, how to access the portal.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Someone wrote, if my child is stressed about homework and I request her not to have homework, you can always have a conversation with the teacher for sure about homework should not be stressful by any means. We also do provide homework help after school. So if it's a situation where the child, just needs a little extra help or just a quiet space to get it done, we will be providing homework clubs here after school where, students can just have a quiet space, interact with their peers, and finish their homework as well. But it should not be stressful. Like, that's not the point of homework, and it should never be that. Aaron, if you email me as well, I can also send you the instructions for Real-Time. Any other questions? My email, I will put it, is C as in Charlie Sanchez at WBPS WhartonBoroughPublicSchools.org. I'll put it in the chat as well.
Please know that regardless of the school, whether it's Duffy School or McKinnon, if you're having issues with the portal, you could also check in with our school secretarial staff and they could assist you as well with setting up the portal.
And I think we've answered all the questions in the chat. I don't see any hands. We have somebody trying to join now. If there are no other questions, we want to thank you all for coming. I did share my email. I do have an open door policy, which means I schedule time to meet with families. I answer emails as quickly as possible, usually within 24 hours. So I'm always available to meet in person or to answer emails if anything should come up. But we are both really excited about the upcoming school year and all the ideas our teachers have given us. And quite honestly, it's quite lonely here without the kids. So we're excited to have our schools buzzing, with the students in the hallways and seeing them all back here as soon as possible. It is not a school until the children and the teachers walk in. So thank you all for coming.
Thank you, everybody.